active on YouTube where she talks about her imperfect zero-waste life, her business and productivity, skincare tips, and mindful entrepreneurships. She's also the CEO and serial entrepreneur of an up-and-coming local skincare, jewelry, and clothing brands. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Rizza, Lana, Sebastian.
Hello everyone, good afternoon.
Hi Rizza, welcome. And joining us today is another noteworthy lady. She is dedicated to environmental programs, sustainable livelihood efforts, and mental health care accessibility and affordability, and all its intersectional dimensions, which includes gender equity, sustainability, women empowerment, youth leadership, and purpose building. In 2018, she was named Her Style Asia's 30 Under 30 Women Who Will Change the World, 30 Under 30 Can Young Marketers, and Lifestyle Asia's Young Eco Warriors. She is also the co-founder and chief marketing officer for mental health organization Mind Nation and brand partnerships director for nonprofit organization Cora Philippines. Let's give a round of applause to Ms. Kat Triviño. Hi, welcome. Okay, let's take our seats. We have an exciting conversation with you today. So let's start. So Rizza, start with you. You're a self-made businesswoman. And aside from your business, what keeps you busy these days?
I am actually, aside from business, I also do content creation. I am on YouTube and I'm also on TikTok at Rizza Lana, shameless plug. And I also am busy with my fur baby, Bagnet. That's the name of my dog.
My carbon footprint.
Yes. So, you know, dapat pala kasama sa computation yun, di ba?
Yes. Okay, great. So how about you, Kat? Tell us more about what you're doing and how you're balancing all of these. Yung introduction mo parang ang daming nangyayari.
And I think you know as well. It's a lot of things, but one thing at a time, always. During the pandemic, I actually went straight through the advocacy work full time. So I'm focused on the mental health and the environmentalism activities that I'm doing now. So just one thing at a time, step by step.
Step by step, of course. And Rizza, you talked about in your introduction, the it says you talk about having an imperfect zero waste life, and you talk about this openly. So what has driven you to create the brands that you are creating or have created, and take that extra step in sustainability in both your business and your personal life?
Just a few kwentos lang about way back. 2017, I started Lana PH with just the mindset of just having a skincare brand because I'm a skincare addict. So I love skincare and I just wanted to have a skincare brand. Yun lang. Walang mission vision, walang kahit ano, core values. Yun lang. I just wanted to have a skincare line.
I appreciate the honesty, diba?
Authenticity tayo dito. Ayan. So, I launched it June 2017 and then December 2017, I watched a documentary called A Plastic Ocean and I was, oh my gosh, mind blown kung ano yung mga detrimental effects of the pollution, plastic pollution, etc. to the marine life. And that's when it struck me na, hey, if I want to have a business, if I really wanted to do something more, parang beyond the products that I have. So, ang narrative na namin is, okay, sige, we will push Lana PH, my skincare brand, into making it sustainable, na ang lagi namin sinasabi, people and planet over profits. And that's where it started actually. Nung dumami na rin yung mga brands, ganun talaga. It's always rooted to the core values of people and planet over profits. And I think nag-trickle na lang din yun sa core values ng company, core values ng team ko, and then that's it. Yung sa lifestyle, ganun na din. I'm sure Kat can also attest to that.
Thank you for sharing. So for Kat naman, inevitably a small carbon footprint remains as we go about our daily activities. Diba sabi ni Jack earlier, everything you do, whether it's travel, food, consumption, pero meron talaga siyang footprint. So, what are ways that you've personally reduced it? And how do we persuade others to rethink their choices? Like for you, how was your journey?
My goodness, I think I get emotional when I think about the journey of the story. Because I also kind of started with a documentary, and I started with Cowspiracy. It was really, for those who watched it, it's very overwhelming. And I think for those that have also just started looking into their carbon footprint, is your first time calculating it now, it can get pretty overwhelming because you think like, okay, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna stop my travel goals already so that what changes am I gonna make? And when you start thinking about your journey towards sustainability, everything, all the realities and the fact that it's a climate crisis does start to settle in with you, and you start getting really overwhelmed. You don't know where to begin, and that's kind of where I started. And with that, and in that journey of years of trying to get this perfect, quote unquote, I have also realized, just like Rizza, that it does not have to be perfect. It can be an imperfect zero-waste lifestyle for as long as we do have that active commitment to make change. And I think more than anything, that's what resonates with a lot of people. When you start with small steps, when you start with, okay, just, this whole year I'm going to say no and commit to saying no to straws, commit saying yes to buying more products or supporting businesses like Watson's that are really putting their foot in front of sustainability and really want to make that commitment as well by supporting them and businesses like Rizza's, then we can actually make and see the change. We don't have to take on everything all at once.
Yeah, that's great. Because I think when we start making this transition, it can be overwhelming, diba? When you read all the news, diba? It's so depressing, and then you think about the scale. And on taking one step at a time, ako nga, every year, I just make one commitment. So for example, in 2019, I'm gonna start composting in my condo. In 2020, I'll eat more vegetables. But I just focus on one. Hindi ako maluloka with all the overwhelming options also. So on that note, what are some of the challenges that you faced in pursuing this eco-friendly lifestyle? I also want to ask you, kasi diba may perception na yung environmentalist, pangmayaman lang yan. You can only do it if you can afford being eco-friendly. So, what do you say about this? Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on this?
Ako, disagree and agree. Half-half. So, okay, I'll explain. Okay, so, sinasabi nga, usual sinasabi nila is pangmayaman ng sustainability. Somehow, it's a yes. I agree to that. Kasi, the system is not yet, built to be zero waste, right? Hindi pa tayo circular economy talaga, hindi pa built ang mga sistema natin dito sa ngayon para maging zero waste. So yes, medyo mahal siya kasi comparing it to makakabili ka ng sachets versus sa malaking shampoo, for example. So syempre, ang sustainable option is to buy the bigger shampoo, right? Pero ang mas mura is yung sachets.
Correct.
Tama naman yun. Yan yung yes side of things ko. Yes, kasi hindi pa tayo built for this circular economy. And no naman, kasi the lifestyle encourages for you to just use what you have at home. So para sa akin, tipid yun. Ako mahilig ako mag-ukay. I love thrifting. Sinong nakaka-relate dito? I love thrifting. Like, 50 to 60% of my clothes are thrifted.
Wow.
And that's a sustainable option. Mas tipid, right? And, ano pa ba? Ako kasi hindi ko rin masyadong sinusunod yung mga Pinterest aesthetic zero waste things. Yun kasi yung nagpapamahal. So I just really use what I have at home before I buy something or so it's a yes or no.
Same way. Because when we think about the sustainable lifestyle, the first thing that we think about, what are the sustainable alternatives that we have? And a lot of the products in the market, they're actually a lot more expensive, or when they put eco or green in it, it is a premium to it. So it kind of feels more expensive as well. So it automatically places the consumer at the point of view na parang, oh, I can't afford this, or this is not me. And when that's not supposed to be the case, it's supposed to be the norm, right? And I agree and echo what Rizza said, that the system may not be built for it at the moment. And we see that during the pandemic. We had to go back to some single-use stuff because of the safety and the contamination, plastics everywhere, the masks and everything. So it can be very difficult, and that's a challenge that we're constantly facing. But it does not have to be that way. I firmly believe that, like, for example, Filipino moms are very, very sustainable. Everybody has that covered with the plastics and the Tupperwares, and it's very normal for them. And they like reusing the plastic bags, they like reusing the Tupperwares that they have. And it only becomes expensive when you start thinking about how it should be beautiful in Pinterest, and everything has to be team kahoy or team with environment. Okay, everything has to be the same color, or it has to be a fancy tumbler that I can lug around all the time. But I'm sorry. You had a nice tumbler. The point is that it's supposed to be, the very word is sustainable, something that you can afford also with your lifestyle. Something that you can sustain throughout and use over and over again. So at net of that, it should be something that's also within your limits.
And I think key also sustainability is making it accessible. So for example, with Watsons, even before I got asked to host these events, I was a big Watsons fan, and I'd always go to the Watsons branches. And I remember I started noticing that they had bigger displays on clean beauty. So they talk about like better ingredients, better packaging, and then the Watsons brand, actually they come in bigger sizes, there are refill options, and they're not prices that are painful. I mean, they're actually cheaper than a lot of different commercial brands. And there are how many branches already of Watsons? Almost 1,000 stores nationwide. So we just imagine the impact of that. Na may malapit na Watsons near you na magbibigay ng mga sustainability options, making it accessible not just in terms of distance from where you live, but also in terms of price point. So it's so important to engage big stores like Watsons in this journey for sustainability. So now, some of our audience members might be wondering how they can engage more or support different organizations or brands that are more eco-friendly or towards the sustainability. So can you share like some organizations that our audience and consumers can join to give back to the planet? Sige,
okay, alright. So, well, I will plug the NGO that I work with. I work with Cora Philippines, or Planet Cora. We're starting to do monthly cleanups, and we're actually going to be doing one very soon with Watsons as well. Although, a caveat to that, coastal cleanups are not the end solution. But, you know, when I was also starting on my journey, it was very impactful for me to actually see what was going into our ocean. So please do take the time to try it out and volunteer. But also going to NGOs and going to also to organizations like these. It doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to be this marine and biologist or perfect. Everybody has unique skills that you can contribute. A lot of NGOs like ours require social media people, marketing people that just need that commitment. And you were talking about that earlier. Photographers. You can put in whatever skills you have to the table, and that can be just as impactful for the planet and the mission as well. I will also promote, because you're not the same Philippine Seas as well. Thank you. You're very welcome, because I also do look up to them as an organization. Their focus is a lot of logistics, a lot of the really amazing work with saving our oceans and my favorite sharks. So if you can take the time to also look into what they're doing, join their camps, their summits, and also donating to these organizations, that would be amazing as well.
Thank you.
I really have to agree. As a small business entrepreneur's standpoint naman, if any one of you is putting up businesses right now, I would also like to encourage every single one of you na kahit bootstrap tayo, kahit maliit pa tayo, kahit walang nagpo-fund pa sa atin sa ngayon, we have the capacity, we have the power to choose kung paano ba natin i-market ang ating products, kung paano ba tayo makakatulong sa planet, kung paano ba tayo makakapag-volunteer with these amazing NGOs mentioned a while ago. And if you are an individual, I highly encourage you guys to educate yung kahit family, mag-start tayo sa family, sa friends, or if you have, exactly, and if you have presence on social media, that's also your power. You also have the power to influence these people na who look up to you as well. So, maraming paraan.
Oh, so speaking of maraming paraan, can you both share some life hacks that you've had in the past few years? Ano yung mga, when someone comes to you like, Rizza, Kat, how do I start? Ano ba yung pwede kong gawin today in my house, with my family? What are some life hacks that you practice?
Okay, number one, it's actually a good thing na nakapag-quiz na tayo with our carbon footprint. And now that we are really aware of our carbon footprint, pwede rin tayong pumunta sa mga trash bins natin at home and you do a trash audit. So, you ask yourself, wait lang, sa mga basura ko dito sa bahay, ano ba yung pwede kong ma-limit? Ano ba yung pwede kong ma-omit sa lifestyle ko para makabawas tayo sa... Yun I guess yung pinaka-simple and first step in making you self-aware kung ano ba yung carbon footprint mo.
Yeah, that's great. So step one is to find out what it is you throw the most. Is it tissue? Is it food waste? Sana hindi. But, it's also good to know that para you can decide ano ba yung alternatives, which one can I compromise, which one can I do right now. How about you, Kat? What about also for traveling? Kasi you travel a lot also for diving. So
yeah, in the same way, actually, I feel like for most of us that have like a little bit, my results are also a little bit over the average. But that's also because of the traveling and the land and air travel. And I think that's one of the main things that we have to start being mindful of when we're doing traveling, whether that's on land, sea, in the air. It's very helpful to be mindful about where we're going. And that tip is affecting a lot of factors or things when we're traveling. When we're mindful of where we're going, we have to take into consideration, okay, where am I going exactly? What resources are there for me? What should I pack? Having a list of the things that you should bring, maybe smaller versions of the big refillable ones that you have at home, so that you don't have to be there and realize, oh, there's no shampoos, and then you end up buying the sachets and everything. So being prepared is very helpful, and so that also you don't overpack as well, which also contributes to carbon footprint. Another one is the itinerary is also very important. So knowing that, okay, how do I get from point A to point B? Is it possible for me to walk? Is it possible for me to take a bike para mas enjoy? Like, just have that as part of the agenda and really being conscious about all the factors. And I guess the third thing about mindfulness is also maybe if you can do deeper research on where you're going, find out brands or accommodations or local brands or local stores that you can support while you're there, so that you can also contribute to the sustainable tourism and also look into, if for example you do decide to set up a store somewhere in Boracay or something, and you know that her brand is doing conscious efforts for the environment, it will also help in your carbon footprint as well to support brands like hers.